everybody 皆さんこんにちは、みちえです。今日もディスコエリシアムを続けていきます。Let's keep exploring 探索を続けましょう。
Slow to let go of river shore. Flex some more wet snow from above.
冬だね。
The snow falls
Look
lazily,
around you.
making the beach sand paler still, mixing with the rust-colored sewage runoff. And to think, it seemed as though it were already spring.
春が来そうな感じだったと思ったんだけど、
You're
雪だら
warm
けだ
in your
ね。
hat and your coat. Like a well-equipped explorer, you comfortably survey the white landscape.
周りを見るチャンスかな。
Layer upon
What's
layer of
below
sand,
me?
poisoned with industrial runoff. The storm drainage, hidden bunkers. Rats scuttle.
Tell me a secret
Someone
of the
stuffed a
sand's
big
wind.
old polar anorak into a concrete pipe under the boardwalk. It would keep you warm. You would probably never happen across it. But who knows?
このゲームはこの世界観を作るのがうまいよね。
Who knows when the snow will let up?
もっと全部読んでる余裕があればいいんですが、Looking back at you from the rust-colored water, you サビの色の水を覗き込んで自分が覗き返していた。Rusty in letters read Mazoot. 何、自転車？ The rear tire of a motor carriage adorns these reeds. 車か。のタイヤ。お、薬と薬。9プラスになったよ。こっちからは、こっちから行けるの？What's over here? The beams are splintered. The bridge didn't collapse on its own. Artillery broke it. あ、これ橋ね。戦争での時に壊れた橋か。こっちから来た？あ、なんかあるよ。上から行かないといけないか。OK。あ、でも橋が壊れているから行けない？あ、また人がいるよ。こっち行きたいんだけど。広いな。金。No boat in the boathouse today. This section of the coast hasn't been used in decades. ここら辺は誰も使ってない。何十年も使ってないみたいだね。ここにボートをしまっているはずなのかな？ボートハウス。わ、薬すごいじゃん。Savoir faire またプラス1しますか？別にいいか。Let's hear. The boathouse is shoddily constructed. A strong breeze might blow it over. こんなにお金、誰かが拾ってんじゃない？何十年も放置されてたら。Ancient paint is peeling off the roof of this shaded bench covered in rust. ペンキが剥がれている。剥がれている。
A scattering of bullet
What's this?
holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other.
ああ、これ、銃の撃たれた後ね。Why this many bullet holes?
A row of ghostly shades stand facing the wall.
うわ、
There are
すご
many
い。
of them, a dozen at least, their heads lowered and eyes blindfolded. It's quiet. No sound, no movement.
あ、ここで
10
処刑
meters
されたん
away,
だね。
other shades are lined up in an orderly manner, automatic rifles primed. A gust of wind blows by. The coats of the firing squad flap slowly in the breeze. A single person stands on the side.
一人がコマンドしてる。こういうの初めて
The
だよね。
morning sun rises beyond the horizon, radiating the first light of the day. The order was carried out at dawn.
どうやって日の出と一緒に撃たれたってわかるの？でもこのビジュアル
A
キャ
long
クレ
time
ス
has
大事か
passed
もね。
since the moment of this fusillading. Rain and brine have since washed all the blood away. Not a trace remains. The abundance of bullet
what is
holes
this?
leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only one soldier has the loaded rifle. Looks like this was a mass execution with everyone fully armed.
いっぺんにもうたくさん撃ち込んだか、何回も何回もここで処刑されてたか。あ、見れるの？
A host of
Look at the
men,
people against the wall.
probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in dust. They were not sitting, a common practice for executions in some nations, as demonstrated by the height level of the bullet holes.
普通の服装、軍人ではないような雰囲気だよね。しかも座っていない、立っていた。
Facing the wall, it's impossible to discern any details about their personality or background. The commandant, the one who gives the order, machine gun fire crackling through the air, the lights of the muzzle flashes dancing on his face.
こいつね。でもこれマシンガンに見えないん
Seven
だけど。
men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles aimed at the people. Soldiers from some side, but from which one?
Okay, but who is who in this
I don't know who
execution?
died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. It could have been any of the parties involved in the revolution. Perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservatives, killed by the communists at the start of the Civil War. Or it could have been the communists, put to death during the last stretch of the conflict by the coalition forces. It could even have been the employees of the failed R&D center down the coast, as their building was taken over by the revolutionaries.
Or maybe
歴史のどの時点で起きたかによってその撃ってる人と撃たれてる人違うかもしれないよね。立場が逆転したかもしれないし。What about people from the
Yeah,
coalition, the
It's
so-called
very unlikely the
moralists?
coalition forces were the ones who died here. They were always the last ones against the wall. To be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in this situation, it was the commandant, the superior giving the orders.
Coalition moralist は今政権持ってる
a cold
グルー
sea
プかな。
wind.
どうなんだろう。Sciences entree interdite. どういうこと？ No ticket taker booth, no longer in operation. Money, money, money. Money, money, money. Money. お。やったー。Is there anything over here? Phone, people, people. +2 logic だって。 Perception 一つ減るけど、Logic が二つ足される。結構増えてきたな。今のは何を、帽子。リアクションスピーカー一つ下がったよ。どっちがいいのかな。まあいいや。Can I go in here? The door is not only barred shut, it is inaccessible. 入れないね。広いけど、これもたくさんあるな。あれスキルポイント、まだ一つある。これ足すか。Unlock。どれをどれをやろうかな。Weather T500 Homosexual Underground, The Jamrock Shuffle. Magnesium based life form. この黄色のやつをやろうかな。Interfacing, Composure, Savoir-faire, Reaction Speed. Savoir-faire でもこういうのはそうだよね。同じ色が変わるんだよね。ってことは逆に赤か紫やるっていう手もある。Indirect modes of taxation, Kingdom of Conscience, Apricot chewing gum, Actual art degree. Finger pistols. いや、黄色しようかな。じゃあこれ。1時間だけ。Finger pistols。あれこの線がどういう意味なのかがわかんないね。意味あるのかな。OK。いた。おじさんたち。こっちにも行ってないとこあるんだけど。まあ、後で戻ってこようか。Howdy, folks. Tiny cages carefully constructed. ちっちゃいカゴ? These soggy logs smell of ignition fluid. Still, they won't light up. なんか火をつけようとしてるのかな。These heavy military blockades are riddled with bullet holes crumbling. OK。どっちから話そうか。
Hello, I'm Gary. How do you do, officer?
Hello, Gary. Crypto
Yellow
fascist. どういうこと
I mean, officer.
The lieutenant raises
racist
his eyebrows slightly and takes out his notebook. Yellow man. Interesting. This is something to ask him about, after a little probing first.
I'm just waiting for my friend Morel to finish up with his insect traps so we can return to civilization.
Not a
I
lover
like
of the great
nature,
outdoors.
just not this bloody coast. It's mostly drunks and degenerates that come here.
自然は好きだけど、ここは嫌いだって。 大体酔っ払いとディジェネレッツなんだろう、ろくでもなしみたい
Degenerates,
のたまり場
this
だ。
man respects authority too much. To see the truth inscribed upon thine own visage. Pretend thou art a paragon of virtue.
ちょっと彼の話になんだろう、テンション乗ってみようか。Degenerates, I've been trained to identify the slightest hint of degeneracy by the preeminent
I
authority
didn't
on it.
mean it in any scientific way.
His gaze shifts nervously to the pile of soggy logs at his feet. あ、マグ。
My
Is this your mug?
Why would you think that?
Hello Man のマグ。ゴミから
His
拾っ
eyes
たよね、
widen
割
at
れ
the
てるや
sight
つ。
of the mug. He's seen it before, all right.
お、見覚えあるね。あの部屋に住んでる人か。You look like the kind of guy who might have a collection of mugs like this
How
home
do you
in his
mean?
colonial mug collection.
Forgive me, officer, but we've only just met.
He is trying to avoid lying to you outright, in case you really have been to his apartment.
Alright, I believe you. You look like the kind of man who knows it's a crime to lie to an officer. お前を信じてやるよ。お前は警察に嘘をつくのが犯罪だって分かってそうな
Okay,
人だからな。
okay, I admit it. I threw the mug away in the trash container behind the hostel. I know I shouldn't have, and I am very sorry, officer.
お、真実を言ったよ。ゴミ箱に捨てたって。
You're not
ホステ
going
ル
to
の後ろに。
find me, are you?
おお金を請求しようか。250はすごいよな。
Okay,
20は
I deserve that. And I won't do it again. You have my word. I don't know what got into me. Stuffing my garbage in another man's property, I've been having trouble at work lately. The Koikos are price dumping us out of competition.
オイカウス。前聞いたよね。なんかストレス溜まってるみたいだよ。
What did you do, Gary?
Hi, Moral. なんか競合が値段がどうのこうの。
Nothing. Nothing. Just answering some questions. Helping out the law.
How did you get into the trash container?
I know
どう
a
やって
guy
ゴミ
who
箱に
works
入っ
with
た
the
んだ？
trash collection services. CS Municipal. He gave me a master key for the trash containers of Martinez.
は？知り合いがゴミ収集のとこにコネがあってマスターキーを鍵をもらったって。この町のすべてのゴミ箱じゃないよな。あれにアンテナに入れるってこと。Why would you
So
need
I
to get
can
into
use the
everyone's
whirling
trash?
trash compactor to store my own stuff. Garbage disposal is expensive as hell. The damn Hemians run it like a mob.
自分のものをそこに倉庫みたいに使ってるってことか。ゴミ箱じゃなくて他のとこ。Trash compactor。っていう入れなかったとこあったっ
I'm
け？
sorry,
鍵ちょう
okay?
だい。
I thought I could cut costs. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have disgraced myself.
Disgraced? No need for the histrionic, sir. It was, after all, just a trash container.
He studies his reaction. Gary doesn't answer.
じゃあ聞いてみようか。Gary, did you put the clothes of a murder victim, the man who was hanged behind the whirling in rags, into that trash container? 殺人された人の服を
Officer,
そこに入れ
please.
たのはお前か？
Let me explain. It's not like that.
説明させてくれ。
I was only cleaning up.
Please do.
I live right across the yard from where he was hanged, and I saw him stripped naked. All the clothes lying around in the yard, smelling. People are animals, you know?
掃除してただけだって。裸にされて服が散らばってて、人間って獣だよな。
Then I came out to clean
What
up the
happened?
rags because no one else would. I put them into the whirling's trash, along with a broken mug, admittedly. Okay. I was coming to throw the mug away, and, well, I threw the mug there and the clothes too.
コップを壊れたマグを捨てに来たけど、服が誰もね、みんな散らかしてたままだったから。
Right. It was
捨てたん
just
だって。
civic duty.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. Civic duty.
As he shifts uncomfortably, a series of clicks, like the clinking of glass beads against one another as they roll across a hardwood floor. You've heard this sound before, but where?
なんか何かがカチカチ転がってる音がする。どっかで聞いたことある。
What
What's that
sound?
strange sound? お前が動いたときに
Really?
That clinking I just heard when you moved. He fans his arms out slowly, and this time
There's
his
lots of weird stuff
motions
out
are
here in the reeds,
soundless.
though. Insects, trash. Could be the wind shifting some garbage nearby.
Every day, the wind shifts the reeds and whatever was left in them. Tambourines and condom wrappers, plastic and glass bottles. The smell of decay. The sound you heard was not the sound of something easily abandoned.
もしかして鎧？カチカチ。鎧着てる？ You wouldn't know anything about the victim's
Armor?
missing armor,
No.
would you?
I mean, yes. Of course. I know he was wearing armor, but I don't know anything about it.
手袋はあって、ブーツはまだ下にあって、あと何がないんだっけ？
An infant could see he's not telling the truth, but he's too scared to admit more wrongdoing. There's
何か
something
着てる
going
で
on
しょ。
here. You should observe him more closely after this topic is concluded.
I hope I could help
Let's
your
move on for now.
investigation in my small way.
Does this mean you were in his apartment, admiring his colonial mug collection? Perhaps it would be interesting to tell him.
58% か。composure。まだ上げれたっけ？
I
do you know
told
anything
you
about the
everything I
man
know,
hanged?
sir. I'm truly sorry for the mug, but I have nothing to do with that.
He's not feeling too uncomfortable shifting around doesn't make him the killer, though. It's something else.
Okay. So Gary, you live nearby
Sure
in an
do,
apartment in
officer.
Martinez?
His eyes narrow slightly. He's wondering where this is going.
近所に住んでんだろ？ Have you found your door open lately? Mr. Clare must be very angry
Mr.
with you.
Everett?
Mr. Clare って誰？あ、Everett か。Yes, he insists that I
So you
open the
work
door
for
to your
Everard
apartment.
Clare? Officer, please tell him we're good. No, tell him I'll make it up to him.
あら、なんか、どうしたの？エヴァルトなんか、
What have I
なんかあっ
done?
たの？
He'll send the muscle after me.
The man looks around whispering.
As
He
he
makes
lowers
sure
his
no one
tone,
hears you talk.
he hunches his back.
I don't
I
know
was
what it
probably
was, but he
talking
doesn't
too
like
loud
you.
in the whirling the other night about some theories. Stupid. Shouldn't have run my mouth loud like that. I won't do it again. If there's anything I can do to assist you, or the Union, just ask, okay? I'll try to help if I can.
あ、エヴァの手下だと思われてる。ユニオンのことに何か手伝えることあれば言ってくれって。なんかマフィアにやられそうな、ヤクザにやられそうな
The
警
weather
戒して
vane
る
has turned.
雰囲気だよ。
He cannot be unturned.
ちょっとアイテム見てみようか。Composure。お、OK。これでもう一回話してみま
Always
し
a
ょう。
pleasure. I mean, officers.
おー、プラス1でこんなに変わる？あとアパートのこと話したから怖くなったんだ。素晴らしい。
That shirt looks very uncomfortable on him. Look at the buttons, barely keeping that thing together, as if something is ready to rip out from underneath.
上のやつ着てるんだね。This massive musculature?
No, he's scrawny. Yes, like a piece of ceramic armor, for example. One that makes a clicking sound when the plates meet each other, resembling pearls or marbles, stolen from the corpse in the yard near where he lives.
やっぱ盗んだね。I see you're a connoisseur
I
of high
knew you'd
quality
figure it
combat
out,
gear.
officer. I'm sorry I didn't tell you at once. I was ashamed of what I did. And I didn't want you to know.
バレたぞ。You see gleaming white ceramic shine underneath. A thin layer of interlocking plates covers his gaunt torso. シャツを脱ぎ始めた。
We're not detecting
Rough stick
falsehood,
right there.
sire. He's gearing up to admit the truth.
Gary, what's going on?
Later, Morale.
Shush!
I've got
I'll get to you.
apologizing to do.
No.
So,
You've
I'll get
got
to you later.
explaining to do.
いや、謝るんじゃなくて説明しろ。Why
Because
did
I
you lie
was
to me,
weak.
Gary?
I should have told you the moment I saw you. But
なんで嘘ついたの？ギャリー君？弱かったからだよ。
The
初
hell,
めから言うべ
Gary?
きだった。
I'll explain later.
Why did you really
Everyone
put
was
those
picking
clothes
those
in the
pieces
trash?
off him, and I was watching them do it. And they'd scattered his clothes all over the yard. Everything was smelling. So I went there to take out the trash and started cleaning up. All those rags on the ground, him swinging up there, and I had a lapse of honor, sir. I thought, he's a foreigner. They all say he wasn't from here. Only the cuirass was left, so I stripped it off him. It was early in the morning. No one saw me. I took it with me. It was a mistake. Had I known it'd give you guys trouble, I wouldn't have... Fuck.
まあみんながいろいろね、脱がして剥がして散らかして、彼もまあ掃除はしたんだけど、まあどうせだからクラスこのアーマーだけ剥がして
We're detecting
思ってた。
sincere contrition here, sire. He's not trying to flatter anyone.
もう正直に謝ってるみたいだね。
It was a loose end, and you are tying it up now.
I'm so fucking sorry I called you Yellow Man. Seolite officers commanded the suzerain's navy. Most of them sided with the king when...
They were thoroughly conservative men, he realizes suddenly.
Yellow Man って呼んだの謝ってるよ。
I
Do
always
you know who
thought it was
killed
the
the
Union,
hangman?
but I sure as hell won't go around saying that anymore. You have my word. I don't know, and I won't be running my mouth on this subject anymore.
口封じされに来てると思われてる今、ユニオンから。ユニオンのやつらだと思ってたけど、もうそんなこと言わないよ。違う。
This is all he knows. He sighs again,
Give me that armor
hangs
now.
his head, and unbuttons his shirt fully. A cuirass that matches the dead man's boots comes into view. Soon it is in your hands, smelling of his sweat. But so light to hold, like a bag of cotton.
結構軽いみたいだね。
Yes,
Are you done here,
absolutely.
Gary?
I will never do anything like this again. I won't mess with Mr. Clare either. You have my word.
Thank you. やっとタスク終わったね。終わった？2つ見つけたけど。Harrier Dubois。あれこれって、前はなんて書いてあった？ Communist, fascist, ultra-liberalist, moralist, good cop, bad cop, honor に低くない？ People killed 3. あ、これキャリアの中で Years in service 18, cases solved 216. すごいじゃん。ボディアーマー。エンパティがマイナス1になる。あ、モラルが2になったよ。これも初めてじゃん。ペイントラッシュホールが上がって、痛みを耐えられるようになって、エンパティが0。ナイス。OK。って自分がすぐ切るってどうなんだよ。
No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
His self-conscious
Hello, Morel.
enthusiasm renders his movements ungainly. He looks like your understanding of a scientist.
You must be Morel, the cryptozoologist.
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
あんまり嬉しそうじゃないな。Lena sent me. She's been really worried about you and is waiting
Of
for you to get
course.
back.
Thank you for passing along the message.
Trust
That
management.
damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the A81.
Yeah, that was me. I broke the water lock with my motor carriage, but it's fixed. あ、お前が自分の車で壊したのか。
You broke the water lock with a motor
you're-
carriage. There was a billboard in the canal. Not a vehicle. It said Samaran Butter.
No, it was all me. I caused your delay and I'm sorry, but you can return now. いや、でもサインが水の中入ってたけど、車じゃなかったよ。いや、全部俺だったんだよ。それか、いや、そうだな、サインのせいだ。
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going.
もうちょっと引っかかるか様子見ないといけない。
His hands are
奥さんが
large
待
and
ってるよ。
weather-worn, but also used to delicate, precise work.
Lena seems
And I'm
pretty
eager
eager
to
for you to
return to her,
return.
I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morel. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
本当になんか見つけられるのかな？
I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
I didn't know the phasmid was
Of course
so
it's
important to
important to
Lena.
her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers.
リーナは実際見たって言ってるんだ。から
She's seen
捕まえ
it.
たいんだね。Really? She sighted the phasmid? She didn't tell me that. この人たちはなんだろう、土の子とかネッシーとかそっち系の生き物を研究してる人。でも誰も信じないね。でも奥さんは実際このファズビンっていうのを見たって言ってる。
That's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine. Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
それがきっかけで出会ったんだけど、なんとしても見つけたいって。Maybe you could go back to the whirling warm-up, come back to check the traps later?
The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
He's dead set on this. I could go for some trap setting.
What if we check the
I
traps
didn't
for
expect
you?
you to take such an interest in our work here, officer.
Cryptozoology and detective work are very similar. そうだね、探偵と似たような仕事だって。俺たちがトラップを見とこうか？あんたは一
Yes,
旦帰ったら？
indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence.
What do I do if there's a
Bring it to me at
phasmid in one
once.
of the traps?
Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
There are 4 in total.
Where are these traps?
One is to the south,
4
on
つあ
this
る。
little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, you should
Just
check at
stick a
least
trap
one
in
of
front of
those
him.
before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture?
The pursuit of knowledge
it?
is its own justification. こんなことやってていいのか？ What if I
That's
encounter
highly
the phasmid in
unlikely,
the
officer.
wild?
And in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
何逃げない、もしトラップに引っかかる前にどっかで出くわしたらどうすればいいの？スプレーをかけてやるよ。匂いで逃げないようにするって。臭いのかな？ He douses you with the odd-smelling spray. A double helping as you present your other armpit,
This
and then he
is the
gives you a
smell of
satisfied
dying
nod.
reeds, of longing crumbling into the water.
I hope you're not buying
結構
this.
臭いらし
He
い。
dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
He looks at the lieutenant with disdain, then puts the spray back in
which
his
means you
pocket.
two can pack up
Okay.
and go back to the boiling.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt.
Okay. まあなんとかなるでしょう。ズームアウトできるの忘れてた。A boy bobs in the water. The number on it says 11. ここ行ける？行けない？ Where are we now? まあここら辺なのかな。今なんか考えようとして。It's almost impossible to get a fire going this near to the ocean. 今度はここ行くぞ。あれ、これ教会？ Bars cover these long dusty windows. あ、もう教会に来たの。Field Electrical Research and
You
Development.
see, a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, "Tomorrow is just a whisper away."
Looks like
Tomorrow
tomorrow
is
never
just a
came.
whisper away. 明日は来なかったようだな。Another power box. It charges nothing now. It's empty. What's here? うお、すげえ。誰か隠してるよ、お金。話してみよう。
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with.
A blond man stands next to his son, pointing to the weather-worn ruins. He
You
sees you
officers,
approaching and
Come
smiles.
to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Hailostam. You must be Kim Kitsuragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
誰この人？結構金持ちそうな。木そんなこと知ってるよ。結構歴史に興味がある人だね。
Oh,
What
yes.
was that about
So,
the windows
Mikhail,
before?
They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall.
南の壁には窓がなかった理由を息子さんに説明してるね。二人とも知ってる
No, I
の
can't
You
say
and
they
Kim
were
know
met
each other?
before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers.
会ったことないけど聞いたことあるよって。He rests his hand on the boy's shoulder. The child stays hidden behind the hem of his father's coat, clutching to his
Mikhail's a little tired
worm-themed
today.
coloring book.
We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into verbs lately.
あれこれって見つけたキューブじゃない？ラジオで遊ぶ RPG み
The
たい
man
な。
speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
もしかして博士と
Wow,
か
get a load of this
教授と
guy.
か。
He really enjoys his trivia. The Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
お金あるか。お金ありそうだね。
No, thanks to you for having me and
Well,
little Mikhail here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
Pick your brain. If anything, this was rather one-sided. He did the talking. Whatever.
It was one-sided. この人からなんか、でも
Hello again.
ゲームのことなんか
But it's not
聞け
just
ない？
any empty old building.
He raises his hand to his eyes, springtime sun warming his handsome face. All four of you turn to admire the mural before you. 空のビルに何がすごいんだ？
What
ただ
not a
の
lot of
空
people
のビ
know
ル
is
じゃないよ。
this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
Hold on. What's R&D?
結構メジャーな企業だったんだね。
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains.
聞いたことないって。まあそれはおかしくないね。もうインクカートリッジとテープ。
They started out as a
製造しかしてない。
midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve, or should I say they were developing an ace up their sleeve? I'm mixing my metaphors here. It was here in
What was that
Martinez,
ace?
possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer.
テープコンピューターのプロトタイプを開発してた。なんか、
An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution. Revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer.
カセットテープみたいなものかな？いや、カセットテープで動かすパソコンみたいな。まあパソコンだね、多分。パソコンの開発をしてたみたいな。自宅で
Which is a feat of engineering.
使えるような。
Even today's giants, Rehm, ICN, and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
今の企業でもまだ達成できてないことをやり遂げてた？まあ開発中で終
He
わったの
assumes
かもしれ
something
ない
like
け
a
ど。
combat stance, facing the wind.
Indeed. What?
What happened?
The revolution! revolution!
革命が起
Unfortunately,
きた。
their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins.
He pauses,
All
pointing
of this
to
was
the
built by
other building,
Feld,
then
even the
continues.
boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D.
まだどっかにそのプロトタイプ残ってるかもしんないよね。っていうか持ってんじゃないあれ。What did the revolutionaries do with
They
those
used them
advanced
for military
tape computers?
communications, but also to write and send out press releases. The most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars.
軍用に使われたみたいだね。
What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album Bombessier d'Insolente. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
How do
Actually,
the
no one
computers
knows.
work?
No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
何あ、今すでにあるのが Radio Computers で、これは Tape Computers か。じゃあ、その本屋さんにあったのは Radio Computer
Buckle up.
なのかな
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Hughes joined the team, trying to...
絶対どっかの大学の博士でしょ、
Wait,
この人、この
Did he
喋
just
り
say
方。
Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center?
Humpty Dumpty
What the
Dum
hell
Center.
is a Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juiced?
Yes,
まあいいや。
tape computers.
Tape computers?
And Feld Electrical. Actually, no one knows.
Buckle up.
10 years ago, I did a...
Wait, what the hell is...
the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Arts. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to... In fact, I'm not. The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
テープに手書きで何かを書いて、機械がそれをスクリーンに出すの？
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
Very, very cool. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The Felt playback experiment vanished into the fires of 07. Yes,
Felt
the official
playback
name of the prototype.
experiment?
Some sources report it as the Felt playback experience, but those are incorrect. Who knows?
Why did they destroy
Maybe
it?
it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and ashes remain inside that building. But of course, what else?
Finger pistols, 9mm.
お、終わった。
Snap, snap, baby. Turns out guns aren't that much for protecting as they are for attacking people. If you want to protect people, really work for them, you have to whip out your signature dual 9mm Villiers finger pistols. Who needs real guns anyway? That conversation you just had? It would have gone better had you snapped those bad boys at them. Note, 9mm dual finger pistols do not count for an actual weapon in a gunfight.
で、このフィンガーピストルで何をするの？ +1 reaction speed. Safety is always off. Empty hands, give suggestion +1. 手ぶらだったら suggestion +1 になる。覚えられないよ。スキルポイントまたあるね。どうしようかな。何かまたあげようかな。Interfacing。リアクションスピードももっと速くしたいけど。いや、でもサートをもっと増やそうか。ワンティダンティダムズセンター。Weather T500 もいいし。Actual Art Degree。Reaction Speed。Reaction Speed やろう。5時間か。長いな。これは Filament Memory。あ、テープ。Empty Cassette Case。あれ ?Empty？ どっかにテープなかったっけ？見つけたよね。カラオケするため。ケースだけ？あ、あったあった。OK。
The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for 40 years.
Can you make out what's inside?
I
中
won't
見え
even
る？
try. You know, I had a partner once. They called him Eyes because he had to show me things. It's that bad. Well
Can you
enough,
still
actually.
shoot though?
It's odd how that works. I'm no sharpshooter, but I passed my shooting courses 7 out of 10.
His hands lead the way when it comes to that. And his shoulders. It's reflex.
今の会話何だったんだ。でも、まあここでちょっと一旦終わろっかな。まだ探索するとこあるかもしれないし、カラオケもしたいし。あ、ここで見えるんだ。Next 点。これが見つかんないんだよね。どこにあるんだ？クリアできそうなものから行けばいいんだよね。これは全部ダメだな。これはマップはもう見つかんなかったよね。それか、青いやつもいけるんじゃない？ Rhetoric. Gaston Martin. Cargo container door. Impossible. White envelope. あ、白はもう一回できるんだ今。なるほどね。OK。じゃあ、とりあえず、ここでセーブして終わります。Thank you all for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.